a typical day for me on the Camino was I'd wake up at about 5:30 a.m. And you do that because it gets super hot later on in the day and you're trying to avoid having to walk under the sun. So you leave, and it's usually a little dark still, and I would wear my little merino wool like hoodie and just wear a couple layers because it was kind of chilly at that point. And then I haven't mentioned it, and I'm sure you've already seen this, but there's yellow arrows everywhere you go. So most of the time, I only got lost one time on the Camino, and I got to tell that story. It's really easy to tell the route. You just keep following the arrows, and if you stop seeing arrows, you're probably not on the path anymore, which happened to me one time. But so what I would usually do is walk for about an hour first thing, and then when you get to the next village, which for some reason is like an hour away, that's where you stop and have your coffee and a little breakfast or whatever. And the coffee in Spain is epic. Like big, creamy lattes, amazing coffee, really, really good coffee. And you can either have Spanish tortilla, or you could have, of course, a chocolate croissant or some kind of beautiful pastry, or you can just order toast and they'll give you like toasted baguette with jam and butter, and that's also a beautiful thing with a little bit of coffee. And then you get back on the road and you just walk. And I had a backpack that had, the belt had a couple little pockets on it. So I would put like peanuts and whatever little snacky things to chomp on while I'm actually walking, because I could just zip it. I also wore like a hip sack as well. So I had that's where I had important documents or money or whatever. So it was right on my body. And then you'd either grab lunch along the way or have a sandwich in your bag. Like you can buy massive sandwiches there for almost nothing. Like they give you a sandwich and it's like this freaking big baguette full of cold cuts or whatever. It's way too much for one person. And yeah, you just walk. That's what you do. That's how you do. And it's usually about 6 hours of walking, which it's easy, right? And I mean, every day is totally different. Sometimes you're cutting through cities, so sometimes you're actually on the side of a highway, but the bulk of it, a lot of it is in farmland. You're walking through beautiful fields of rye and wheat, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And you just walk. Oh, I got to talk about the guidebook. I should have said that right off the top. So I'm going to talk about the guidebook. Everybody carries the exact same guidebook on the Camino. And he does revisions every couple years. He's a his book is the number one Camino book. Every pilgrim has it. And it shows you basically the best route for each day. The best village to stay at, the most popular village, where to stop and why. And it shows you a map of each day. It describes the albergues that are available and any special features of that village, and what to look for and what to expect for the day, if there's a climbing or if you're on a bit of highway or whatever. So it's this incredibly beautiful detailed book. And because I was crazy about weight, you rip out the pages that you don't need as you go along the Camino, so the weight slowly, my book was one page by the end, and you throw away the pages you don't need. But anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so every day is totally different. You might stop halfway through and sit down in some shade, or if you see a cluster of people, and take a break and have some water and have some lunch, get fueled up, and then you start walking again. And because I'm a pretty fast walker, I usually ended up in the village at noon or 12:30 or something. So you have a lot of day left. And typically what I would do is find the albergue I'm staying at. You sign in, which sometimes take a bit of time. Get my bed. You put your crap. Oh, I forgot to say, when you wake up in the morning at 5 or 5:30, you basically just pack up all your stuff, roll up your suit, your sleeping bag and get all your stuff, and you just hit the road. Okay? I missed that part. And then, so anyway, find your bed, and usually like you put your sleeping bag out right away so you can claim the one you want to sleep in. And you go straight away, go have your shower, wash your socks or whatever clothes need to be hand washed. I think I use shampoo to wash them, your underwear and socks and whatever. And hang them up, and then like siesta, if I felt like sleeping. So have like a short siesta, and people will be slowly arriving and making noise and all this garbage. But anyway, and then usually I would just get into my comfy clothes and flip-flops and go for a walk around that village, because they're all different. Almost every single one has a little cathedral or church. Go look at the church, look around, and then like have a beer. Usually pilgrims are sitting around and you can go get a drink, usually just a beer or whatever, chat about the day and blah, blah, blah. And then usually there's dinners pretty like 5 o'clock or something like that. And there's, you can either eat alone, or usually big groups of people will eat together, and that's when you have your pilgrim's menu. Blah, 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 hang out. And then there's usually curfews at the albergues. Like, I think most of the time it's 9 o'clock. And I mean, you're ready for bed. So you have to be back at your albergue between 9 and 10, I would say. 10 at the latest. And in your little bed, put on your sleeping mask like I did, and earplugs. And I'm going to just say really quickly, if you snore, do not do the Camino. I'm serious. There's some like really bad snorers that should not be in shared rooms. I'm sorry. I seriously, like, I experienced some of the worst snorers that exist on the planet. And as far as I'm concerned, they should pay extra money to get a private room or a room with 4 people and disturb just those people. Because holy fuck, it's like unbelievable. Like, I missed an entire night's rest because of this one Italian dude that was snoring. Oh my God. Anyway, so yeah, and then you get back to your bed and crash and do it all again the next day. So that's a typical day on the Camino. Okay, bye.